She's got that look. She's got that style. She's got that conversation that makes you want to stay for a while. She's the All-American Woman. Hi, I'm your All-American Woman here today with another series on women kids should know and read about. Today we're going to be doing part 6, Women Who Went Against the Odds and Won. The important part is they won. Yes. So, without further ado, let's get started. Our first woman that we're going to talk about is Sonia Sotomayor. Okay, and this book is in the Who Is or Who Was series. In her case, Who Is, because she's now the first Hispanic American on the U.S. Supreme Court. And as we all know, she was appointed by President Obama. And she got her inspiration for being a lawyer from watching the television show Perry Mason. But prior to that, she had a lot of anguish and darkness in her life, in her family, just in her family. There were a lot of sad things happening. Even though she had a beautiful family, bad things happened. And, even to her, she found out at a very young age that she had diabetes. But she persevered and she moved on from that. She came from a poor family, but they did everything that they could to make her life better. And when her mom was a single mom, she did the same thing. She did everything she could to help her daughter follow her dreams. So this is a wonderful book. Anybody that's ever read the Who Is, Who Was series knows that it's great. It's a chapter book. It's mainly for, I'd say, 4th graders and up. But, some 3rd graders also read chapter books, so this may be for them as well. And the Who Was series is such a great series, Who Is, Who Was series, because it not only gives a biography of that person, but it also talks about the different things that happens. Like I said before, Sonia had diabetes, so it gives a brief description of what diabetes is and different things like that. It gives like little segues about things that the reader may not know about, and the book breaks it down. So these are excellent books for young readers and to learn about others. In this case, Sonia Sotomayor. All right. So our next person, this I have to say, until I got this book, I had never heard of Eugenie Clark, the Shark Lady, as she's known. This is a true story of how Eugenie Clark became the ocean's most fearless scientist. She wanted to know about sharks, and so she did it. The back of the book says, Eugenie wished everyone could see sharks through her eyes. To others, sharks were ugly and scary, but Eugenie knew they were beautiful. So Eugenie dove. So again, another person that's told no, especially doing something that mostly men do, going into the ocean and then learning about sharks. Oh my goodness, how dare she? But she did it, and she did a great job, to the point where people know a lot more about sharks and study sharks even more because of the work that she did. Alright? Our next person, again, I never knew about this person until I saw this book. This is a beautiful book. Marijke, a 19th century American girl. Now, this book is beautiful because it tells the story of this young girl, but it also tries to be very historical in its telling of it. This is a true story, but a lot of information they weren't able to find. So what they couldn't find, they made note of. This may have happened like this. She was born in 1848 and in New York City. And she had a very difficult life during that time, but also she had a very strong and beautiful family to support her during that time. around the age of 15, her family had to flee New York because of the draft riots, and they ended up going to Providence, Rhode Island. And she stayed there until she graduated high school, where she was the first African American to graduate from that school. But I'll let you read about that. This is a beautiful book because it not only talks about Marijke, it also tells about her family and their history. I would suggest it for maybe your middle schoolers, 6th grade and higher, because it is such a historical thing. But some 5th graders might enjoy it as well. It has beautiful pictures. The illustrations are just so wonderful. They almost look like pictures themselves. And then there are some pictures in here of her family members too. So there are pictures and also illustrations. All right, so I think this is a book that you will enjoy, about a woman that you never heard of before, but once you read the book, you will never forget her. Our next story, our next woman, is Bessie Coleman. I love talking about Bessie Coleman. Not just the book, but just talking about her in general. This book is entitled Talking About Bessie, the story of aviator Elizabeth Coleman. And this is by Nikki Grimes. Alright, so this book talks about one of the greatest women in aviation history. Now I know we have heart, nothing to take away from her, but this woman went through so much adversity, not only because she was female, but also because she was African American. She had to go to France just to get her pilot's license, and because she did not have transportation nor family there, she had to walk to and from the school every day. It was a struggle. And she was not only an aviator, a pilot, she was a stunt pilot, which I find so fascinating and so cool. So this book, there are many books about Bessie Coleman for kids of all ages. This one in particular would probably be for your 4th or 5th grader, and it would also be an excellent buddy reader book. The pictures are lovely. The illustrations are so nice. It talks about these people actually are literally talking about Bessie Coleman and how they knew her throughout her life. It is such a beautiful book. And it tells you who the people are and how they were related to Bessie, or what relationship they had with Bessie Coleman. This is a beautiful book. Bessie Coleman is a beautiful woman. She knew what she wanted and she went for it, no matter what people said to tell her, you can't do this. She's like, this is what I want and I can do this. And she did it. And she did it to the umpteenth power. Our honorable mentions today are two ladies. One is Wilma Mankiller. She became the first woman elected to serve as principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Now, Wilma Mankiller died, but she was very instrumental in getting rights for the Cherokee Nation. And then also we have Mary Bravebird. This is a Lakota woman. There are a lot of books about Wilma Mankiller, but there are not as many books about Mary Bravebird. She has written books, and one of her most famous is Lakota Woman. This is probably for your teenagers, probably your high schoolers and above. It has a lot of literature in there. It is a chapter book. There's not a lot of illustrations or pictures. Actually, I don't think there are many at all. There are some that just show her going through her life. But this book is so important because these two Native Americans talk about how they had so much adversity, again, not just because they were women, but because of their race as Native Americans. With Mary Bravebird, she was Lakota Sioux. And she lived in South Dakota, and she had a tough life. Most of her life was so extreme because she did not want to be what they called Americanized. She was taught in a Catholic church, taught to be a Christian young lady. These were things that she did not want to do because she felt like it was denying her heritage as a Native American. They were teaching her not to be a part, not to be a part of her Native American heritage, and she didn't want to do that. This is the book itself, if you ever get it, Lakota Woman, is an excellent book. I remember reading this book and then going to South Dakota to visit my friends, and she actually took me to some of the places that Mary Braybird wrote about in the book, and it was just like, wow, the book coming to life all over again for me. I loved it. So that's another book also. These are excellent women once again. And if you know of some women that I missed that you think should be in this section, please let me know. And please tell me what you think about the women that we talked about today. All right. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time.